Going back to the social club, we're discussing Leicester, who should be rubbish by now, but they're not. It continues to defy the odds. And top of the table, I mean, Jim, I thought this might be the week that the wheels finally came off. You know, like Vardy got the Premier League goal scoring record. I thought he might just crumble into dust, and that would be Leicester's.
Well, he still might. He might now. I want to know what the odds are on him not scoring again this season, because I want some of that. But they've got other players, haven't they? Mahrez can come in, and he's a fantastic player as well. They're just. He's getting it. Ranieri's got it right.
Yeah.
And it might be a combination as well of other clubs, not quite. There's clubs at the top, not quite really challenging. But I thought he'd be terrible. I thought he'd be gone by Christmas. I thought it'd be a disaster.
Terrible. I always thought he was a good manager because I always thought he got a lot more stick than he was probably due. You know, the whole Tinkerman stuff was.
He hadn't achieved really much at all in his career.
Exactly.
He just finished with Greece when they lost to. Didn't they lose to like Faroe Islands or something?
He had one
He'd had a
in
nightmare.
2001 or
yeah,
something.
You'd been.
Like that was such a long time ago.
Yeah. I think he'd won like the second division of the French league with Monaco.
He did actually do quite well with Chelsea, you know.
No, but with a stupid amount of money, and they didn't. He didn't get them. He didn't win anything there.
Yeah. It just felt like it didn't feel like the right fit at all to me. It did not think it would fit, but like clearly it has. Maybe it's the pizza. I don't know. He's doing something right.
It's incentivising. That's what it is. I think the thing for me, Ped, is that like common footballing logic is like we have. I don't even pay attention to them. I'm looking at the league going, look, I'm even now. I was looking at the league table before, and I'm not even registering. Literally, not even registering Leicester being there because me just X amount of years of watching football. You're like, they're this season's insert team here. So Southampton or Blackpool did it a few years back.
Villa did it with John Gregory and Paul Merson.
Exactly. So I'm expecting it to implode at some point, but it doesn't seem to be.
No, because it won't implode until something happens, which is Mahrez gets injured or Vardy gets injured. It won't happen unless those two things happen. Because James just said they haven't got anyone. They have not got anyone else. They've got a really, really strong team behind them that do all their jobs right, and the team is set up so that Vardy and Mahrez get space and space to run into, and if Vardy gets injured, they're done. As far as I'm concerned. No, they are. That's it. Well, yeah, because that is common logic tells you who else will score the goals.
Joa.
He won't.
Just saying it now.
People can't even get the pronunciation of his name right.
Apart from just then.
But it's not spelt like that, so therefore it's not the pronunciation. I don't care.
Ulloa.
There you go.
Ulloa.
That's how it's.
Like, that's Hawaiian.
An Hawaiian version of a BBC comedy classic.
Yeah. from the mid-70s.
It's good. It's good.
No, I just think it won't just fall apart. That's what has to happen. Yeah. They've got a good goalie, they've got a decent back four, midfield that are very hard work, and the team's set up perfectly for them.
They have had quite, not an easy, but they've had a favourable run of fixtures. So they're now coming to an end. They're coming to a really tough point now.
But it also proves that when people say you have to play everyone, the order of your games is really important. Massive, because if you can get a good head of steam and you can get players playing a certain way and they settle down playing in that way as well, when you come to play the tougher teams, number one, the tougher teams will have the mental block knowing that they're going to play a team who are in form and have to look at players like Vardy. And the confidence must be through the roof, and you'd be thinking, we can go and beat anyone now. Yeah. And if you want to finish top four, it's not about beating the other three teams. It's about beating everyone else and maybe getting a few favourable results.
There's something to be said, James, isn't it, for just points on the board and how that breeds the confidence and the fear factor in the other team.
And the other side of that is that if you have easy games to start with and you don't win them, then you start panicking about the easy games, and it puts more pressure on the hard games, and it goes horrible. QPR fan talking again. But I think Mahrez is brilliant. I think he's one of the best players in the Premier League this year. I think if you lose him almost more than Vardy, then they will struggle. The other thing with Leicester is that they don't have much possession in games, so they don't even need the ball to win games. So
very clinical.
It's incredible.
They're a bonkers team, though, aren't they? Because like the defence isn't great.
That's the thing.
It's just free scoring.
You know those players you go, is he Joe Allen? Is he good? I don't know if he's good or not. I haven't got a clue. No, their back four, probably not. The back four is littered with those. Like what's his name? Delat. Is he good? Huth?
No, but you don't have to be good. You just have to be a unit. Yeah. You have to be a unit. I mean, I've seen this under Moyes.
Speaking as a unit.
Yeah. Under Moyes, we were very much the same. That's how we finished fourth. We had very, very strong goalkeeper, a back four. We had a way of playing, and we had Kale scoring. We didn't even have a striker. We just had Kale scoring all the goals.
Formation.
You know,
Love Kale.
We had Kale scoring all the goals. We had a willing runner up front in Marcus Bent. And actually, when he started...
You basically explained Leicester there.
Yeah.
And when he started to tinker with that formation and bring in world-class players like James Beattie, it just ruined it. It just ruined it.
Be careful.
And if you find a way of playing, you just stick to it, and everyone else will be fearful of you. And it does make a mockery of these very, very thick tactics books, which I think there is one over there somewhere,
probably
explaining, you know, all these different formations. So if you've got something that works, but also it's
the big Spain 4-4-2. It's like it shouldn't. You know, if any other manager basically put that team out in the formation, they'd get picked apart. But I wonder if it's like a perfect storm of just having those players in form.
What I would say as well is with Vardy, I don't know why, but a lot of teams have been playing a high line and letting them get behind. But then I think when you try and drop deep, then you do have the other option. You know, as we've seen on Saturday, of a player who has got immense amount of talent to break a team down. Yeah. The other thing is January next month, some desperate teams out there who will come looking for them. Yeah. Desperate as in Chelsea.
Do you think either of those will go then?
I'm not saying they will. And do you know what? I hope they don't.
I was chatting to Mr. Flav from BallStreet, does the Fighting Cock podcast, Spurs fan. He was saying that spend 20 million on Vardy, you're spending 10 million on the player and 10 million on making sure Leicester don't get in the top four.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's actually a really good buy.
But it's a mad thing because...
What's it got to do with Tottenham?
Tottenham want to win the league, don't they?
They want to be in there. They're right up there, aren't they? But this is the thing. We've seen it happen. The example of it being like Andy Carroll when Liverpool bought him. He had a great start to the season. And Liverpool was so desperate for him that they paid ludicrous money for him. Money talks, ultimately. I can't see Leicester. Leicester would be stupid. But if you could keep you know, you'd be after keeping Mahrez at all costs, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But in terms of Vardy,
he signed a 4-year deal thing in the summer, so
if you could sell Vardy, if you could get more than £20 million for Vardy,
it'd be amazing because Vardy is playing at the absolute maximum.
Yeah.
As our Leicester, we said it's on the way up. As our Leicester as a team playing at absolute maximum. So yeah, I think you'd keep Mahrez over here.
If I was Vardy, I wouldn't go anywhere because he'll be looking at the Euros in the summer and thinking that's my one big chance.
But also, like you were saying earlier, the way Leicester play is for Vardy, and no one else can play like that for him. It's perfect.
But it's also for someone like Robert Huth, who because you want space in front of you for someone like Vardy. That suits Huth and those guys as well because no one's getting in behind them.
I think Paul was right when he called it a perfect storm. That is exactly what it is. Yeah. But it is great as well because it is, for all those teams outside the top six, is an example, an indication that, you can break into it. Like, the top six is not impenetrable. If you get it right, if you spend the right sort of money, this league can be changed up. And if they do get through this hard run in January or December, January, and they're still up there, it's like breaking the glass ceiling. It's great. It's a real indication to all the rest of us that actually things can be different.
As I learned 2 years ago, though, that magical stories in football just don't happen anymore. And your dreams can be easily shattered and destroyed. No, of course.
Hello.
Yeah. Money talks at the end of the day. It does. Yes, thank you very much.
I'm listening.
Money does talk at the end of the day, and I just feel sorry for Jamie Vardy who doesn't go to the Euros because then he's going to have to take his little flags off his white van, isn't he? I mean, that would be the real sad. Sorry.
I very genuinely ask.
Yeah. Should he go though? Should he go?
Yeah, of course he should.
If he stays fit.
We spoke about this last week. I think you can imagine bringing him on last half an hour against teams. He would frighten them to death. Why not? Cinderella story.
Absolutely.
As Bill Murray once said.
Yeah. So, James, how high can Leicester finish this season?
I honestly think they can finish top four. I actually think that because if all these other teams aren't winning games, we've said it. The mid-table teams are decent sides, and also these guys raise their game against these other teams, whereas Leicester, people still aren't giving them the respect they probably deserve. If they can get through, I think they've got you guys. They've got Chelsea next week. They've got you guys soon. They've got Man City as well coming up. If they can get through them and they're they're 2 points clear at the moment. If they can be sort of 3 points off top, then why can't they finish?
I can imagine Sky putting all kinds of roadblocks in the way, getting them to play like 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning, because they'll ultimately be thinking coefficient.
Yeah.
If these get in the Champions League and they bomb, the coefficient goes. We lose a place. We've only got 3 spaces.
Well,
That's it. Is that the heartbreak?
Will they be thinking,
from don't get in the Champions League?
fuck BT, because if only 3 teams get into the Champions League, that erodes their power base.
But they've got to be thinking, they think
yeah.
2 steps ahead of people. They think, then we've only got 3 teams going for the places. That dilutes the Premier League, less money. This is what the big people. This is like the likes of me and Sky. That's how we think, Paul.
That's how you think. That's how the big boys think. Yeah. What do they do?
Well, the only downside is I'm struggling to deal with the smugness of Gary Lineker.
Yeah.
It is becoming unbearable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That coming from someone whose manager is Alan Pardew is absolutely amazing.
That's a fair point, but
Pardew once felt it important to drop in the fact that he had a Swedish wife into a press conference once, like you mean, like.
I think
Just
we all would.
Just to let everyone know, by the way.
Lineker sometimes
Your imaginations run wild.
He's quick to say he's kind of a Spurs fan as well.
He doesn't say he's an Everton fan and all
He
that.
needs to make his mind up.
Barcelona fan.
I take the Pardew comment and I accept it.
The only thing for me, and I guess the big this month will be the big test there, because although, you know, like City, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Spurs, and not grasping this league by any stretch, they've all been fighting on a number of fronts. They've all had European football to contend with as well. Leicester haven't had that. This period is always what sorts the insert cliched men from the boys, whatever, when you play those ridiculous amounts of games in a short space of time. And it's all well and good if you've got 2 players who are amazing, but can they be amazing when you're playing 2 games in 3 days? That kind of stuff. When they get to the end of January, what condition are they in then? Because even if they get through that unscathed, it doesn't let up.
Yeah,
January's
just as bad, yeah.
But even if we get past that, it's once it gets to like March, the teams down the bottom start winning games, and the teams at the top start losing again. That pressure builds, and that could let those Leicester players. None of them have really been in that world before. They could,
and they won't again. That European cliches, it's true though, isn't it? It's weird. We all say it, but I think it is genuinely true.
No, it's a thing, isn't it? You know, apparently, and long may that continue as a viable excuse for when you shit on Sundays. I really want Leicester to do well for this season. I don't want to sound like I'm being disrespectful towards them. I just don't want to be in the top 4 because that's a space. Nothing would annoy me more than Chelsea, obviously, basically giving up top 4 like they have, and then Liverpool finishing like 5th behind Leicester. That would be like immeasurably distressing.
James is right though. They genuinely can. I know it sounds weird, but
for me, I think they'll average out at around 7th or 8th, and everyone will go. Right. That was still an amazing season for Leicester. Yeah. They'll be finishing above Everton and doing that, which would be a good thing. And then
you say that.
I've said it.
You say that, but you know
the thing is said.
I think anyone who finishes above Everton this season will win the league.
There you go. On that bombshell, we'll wrap that up there. Next on the show, we're going to be discussing the club who definitely won't be winning the league this season. That's Chelsea. But will they be able to stave off relegation? That is the big question.